What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment. IG, TikTok, bottom of the video. We're just gonna get right into it. So today, this is obviously a game 3 reaction, and this one might be a little more all over the place. I got a bunch of notes, but it's just a little all over the place. It's just me, as I'm watching the game, taking notes. So bear with me. So first thing I thought of when the niggas hopped in the game, and actually let me pull up the box score while I'm looking at this motherfucker too. So my first thought when watching the game is I thought those first two early fouls, what it was, I know it was Shea trying to push off on Nembhard on offense, and then it was a legal screen. I forgot what the second one was, or something on Jalen Williams. It was one of them two that I thought that was going to dictate how physical Oklahoma was going to be able to be with Indiana. Obviously, Oklahoma is usually the more physical team. And as we know, if you're an avid, if you're an avid basketball fan, then usually people who have a reputation for a good defender sometimes do get away with playing a little more physical. And obviously, OKC has a lot of those, so they are a very much more physical team. Now today, they started one big. Obviously, they went with the lineup of Shea Dort, Cason Wallace, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams. So obviously there's kind of a correlation from game one to game three and game two. Now, obviously with game one and game three, they barely used the two big lineup. Like I said, in game two, when they went back to it with Hartenstein and Chet that we saw a lot of this year, it actually gave Indiana problems, and I thought it was going to I definitely thought it was really, really gonna cause them problems once Chet got to cooking early like that. So we saw how Chet was cooking early. I thought Chet was gonna have I don't know what he finished with. I know he had 13 early. He only finished with 20. 60. Yeah, he kind of struggled outside shooting towards the end, definitely towards the end, especially when he got blocked by Miles Turner. But his start, he was hot, so I thought that was gonna really dictate the game. But obviously, it seems like it's a correlation between playing those two bigs, Holmgren and Hartenstein, and they probably should, keep trying to do that more. But we'll see what that looks like in game four for that specific situation. Now, obviously, Lu Dort, I know he started 3 for 3. He ended up going 4 for 5. So the Lu Dort shooting, if you haven't, it's kind of sucks to waste. I ain't gonna say because Lu Dort has improved as a shooter, but it does kind of suck to waste a good Lu Dort shooting game. 4 for 5. I mean, but the OKC is so deep. You might get that production from some other player games, so that's not something too much to worry about. And then what really really won this game for Indiana, besides OKC turnovers, we'll get into that later, but Indiana's bench, I know it was 19-0 at some point because Benedict Mathurin was motherfucking hooping. Benedict Mathurin was hooping. TJ McConnell was going crazy, but Mathurin was hooping. I think he finished with a dub. What he finished with? That boy finished with 27. Golly. So you got a nigga, two main players give you 20. You got a nigga who give you 27 off the bench. That's a great recipe. Now, I know by halftime, the bench had 30 of their 64. Let's see what the bench did in comparison. Let's see. OKC bench only had 4, 12, 18 compared to Indiana's bench having 8, 18, 45, 49. So Indiana's bench almost had 49 to 8. I mean, almost 50 points compared to 18. So that's a big, big, big difference, especially when you see that Jalen Williams had a good game. Chet tailored off, and then somebody actually held Shea to under 30. So that bench was vital today for Indiana. But we knew that already. I mean, both of these teams have good benches, but we knew how much Indiana bench can inflict, because that's just what they do. They're a deep basketball team. They don't, obviously they have great players with Halliburton and Siakam, but the deepness of their team and the fact that anybody could really go off with and make them such a great team. So great game by Benedict Mathurin. Now I already knew Benedict Mathurin might be an X factor because one, he's a top 10 pick, so we understand how talented, how great of an athlete he is when he does have skill. So when the game slows down for him, actually Benedict Mathurin is going to be a great player in this league. So we just gonna have to see him put this together more consistently. And Honestly, he might have another one of these in him, but in all honesty, I don't think he'll get 27, 25 again. But he had a hell of a game though. Now another thing we did notice today, obviously Halliburton was a lot more aggressive. Now Halliburton, what I think, I know he had at least he had 22 and 10, 22 and 11, 22, 11 and 9, one rebound short of a triple double. We all know this. This is not nothing a story that we have to keep, beating a dead horse on. We understand that when Halliburton is aggressive, they're a different team. They are a way better team when Halliburton is aggressive. Now, like I said last game, I think his if he's more aggressive getting downhill and things like that, he'll make his passing easier. And as we seen this game, I think he had 3 or 4 assists last game compared to 11 assists this game, just because he was being more aggressive getting downhill. It's just easier because they have to help. In the way OKC play their defense, they're a swarm. They're going to swarm you. So as soon as you get past that first defender, somebody's coming. So that means somebody's got to be open eventually if y'all pass the ball well enough. So like I said, Halliburton aggression, the bench made a big difference in this game. Now, like I said earlier, Jalen Williams did have a good game, so that's another thing for OKC. That's like you don't want to waste a Jalen Williams good game. Well, Jalen Williams obviously is a great player, but Jalen Williams has, especially in this playoffs, has had some games where he's struggling with his pull up jump shot, and that's a lot of his game. So, but especially since the Denver series, he has played a lot better, but he has had a couple games here and there still between that been. So it scares me. You don't want to. Lu Dort had a great game shooting. Had a great game shooting. I mean, he kind of tailed off to the end because he had 3 early and he only had 1. He went 1 for 2 the rest of the game. So, and the thing that Jalen Williams, had one of his great games where he had 25. I think he had more than Shea, did he? Yeah, Shea. I mean, yeah. Jalen Williams had 26 and Shea had 24. So it kind of sucks to waste that game for him having at least 25 plus, but they still a deep team, so that doesn't matter. And another thing that was crazy about this game, OKC was actually shooting pretty well from 3. Now they missed 4 straight at the end because it says they finished 10 for 22, which is still 46%, which is still phenomenal shoot as a team. But they were 10 for 18 at a point, which is obviously over 50%. I'm not finna do the math on that, but obviously over 50% and shooting over 50% on 3. Is definitely gonna help you all out. And Indiana actually struggled from 3. They shot 9 for 27, so that's obviously 1 for 3. But they shot a lot better. They shot a lot better in the arc, as well as turnovers. Indiana has more shots than damn, why this shit going dark? Indiana has more shots than OKC for the simple fact as OKC turned over the ball simple. They turned over the ball the same way Indiana turned the ball over game 1. Even though Indiana won the game, but look, it's 19 turnovers to 14. Now 14 turnovers and points off of turnovers 21 to 14. Now the thing about that is Indiana. Both of these teams do get up and down. I will say that, but the thing about that, Indiana, they play style. Let's be honest. They play style. You probably is going to concede some turnovers, but turning the ball over 19, 20 times against a team, and then a team only turn the ball over 14 times, that's still gonna hurt you, especially when they're shooting way better than you inside the arc. So yeah, holding Shea to under 30, that's obviously a rarity. That's something I would bet my bottom dollar on not happening next game. So yeah, I mean it's Shea. Shea's been averaging over 30 for 3 years straight. I doubt he's going to not come out and score 30 again. Now 24 on 9 for 9 for 19, 9 for 20 is not the exact worst thing in the world, but even when Shea is not shooting great for going for 30, he still gets about 30 of them up. So that's you held him to 10 less shots under his usually efficiency and amount of points he scored. That's a great game defensively, showing all those bodies that Shea. They showed him like 7 different defenders, so it's a lot of bodies they were throwing at Shea, and he didn't. I ain't gonna say he didn't handle it well because he still hooped, but it wasn't as effective as it usually is. But I doubt that for next game. So my prediction for next game, I will say, I think the Thunder will come out and win Game 4. For the simple fact, one, the Thunder don't win, they don't lose 2 games in a row. I definitely expect Shea to come out and have a big game, the bounce back game. Now, the question is who's going to come with him. Now Chet started strong, finished. He didn't finish well, so maybe Chet will come out great next game again. I mean, at least hopefully not have 6 points again. But they're gonna need obviously with Indiana at home. Indiana and their role players play phenomenal at home, so the Thunder are going to need, if Shea and Jalen come to play, they're going to need somebody, one of those great role players, to come in and have one of those games. We already seen one from Aaron Wiggins. Will it be the Isaiah Joe game, something like that? We don't know, but we'll see. Obviously, but like I said, I do got the Thunder winning Game 4. I do still think the Thunder will win these series. Now I don't know if it'll go 6 or 7. Now I definitely think the Thunder will win Game 4. They'll win 5 back at home. Now I got to watch these next 2 games before I know if it's 6 or 7. But I still got the Thunder. But Indiana, they making a hell of a case. They making a lot difficult on them. But that's all I got to say though. Like, share, subscribe, comment. IG TikTok on the video, and we out.